Welcome back to the Debatable Podcast.
Debatable.
MC War.
The official sport of rap battling.
Yeah, man, we are back, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way.
All the way. Welcome back, y'all. Debatable Podcast, man. We happy, man. It's the holidays, and we, just dropped a new battle. But first, let's talk about what else is out there. We got Swamp versus Tay Roc. That was just dropped. Smack URL.
Okay.
Yeah, shouts out Tay Roc. 92 million, right? We already know he's on his way to the $100 million man. 59 total battles, 1.5 million average, right? He went up against Swamp. Swamp been getting it in because Swamp battled Calico, right? On that Black Mafia Battle League. Yeah,
okay.
The one they just did, the Winter Madness.
Okay.
If I'm correct. And Swamp is from Marion, South Carolina. Shouts out to Marion, South Carolina.
South Carolina.
My daughter's not too far from there.
Okay.
And he's been putting it in, man. 3 million total views.
Swamp.
Yeah, 31 battles.
Swamp.
Cataloged. Average views 108,000.
Okay, he's working.
Yeah, he's been doing his thing. So that went live on the 22nd. Right then, you have Av versus Hustle.
Mm-hmm.
So shouts out to Av 35 battles catalog. We know we need to get Av, bro.
And this is on Verse Tracker, correct?
Yeah, it's on versetracker.com.
Okay.
Shouts out versetracker.com. You can see all the upcoming battles. You can see all the battles newly released on YouTube, right? You can see the stats and ranking of all your favorite battle rappers. But yeah, I like Av, bro. I want to definitely get him on MC War. Shouts out to Av. Shouts out Norfolk, Virginia.
Yo, for sure. And if you ever get on Verse Tracker, go on the album section. I want to shout out to Free Daps. He has a Daps the Halls. He has a Christmas album on there. It's the spirit. If you feel like listening to some Christmas hip hop, I don't know, rap. I never heard it, but it's on there. It's called Dap the Halls by Free Daps.
Shouts out Daps. Definitely check that on versetracker.com. And yeah, so like I was saying, man, Av, Norfolk, Virginia. The MCs that come out of Norfolk are definitely fire. I don't know if that's where Big K is from, but
Big K?
I know an MC, Hey Jour.
Big K's from Virginia.
Yeah, Norfolk. I'm thinking too, possibly.
Why my mind is in New Jersey?
I'm not sure, but shouts out to the Norfolk. Shouts out to them. Also, what was I saying? I was saying that Hey Jour. I know a few MCs that came out of Norfolk that's hot, so
absolutely.
Yeah, definitely they produce fire spitters out there, from Norfolk specifically.
Right.
Now, I don't know if Big K is also from Norfolk, but I do know he's from Virginia. But yeah, so shouts out Av. He just went up against Hustle, and Hustle is new. He's building his brand up. Hustle's got about 22 battles, right, catalog, but he's got an average viewership of 59,000, averaging 2,700 views, and he's coming from New Orleans, Louisiana, so it's high expectations for any MCs coming out of New Orleans because you got your J Electronica, you got your Wayne, you got a couple guys that really did their thing. So yeah, man, shouts out to that. And what we just dropped, MC War, the official sport of battle rap. You can now go watch Charlie Clips versus Oun-P. Round 1. It's available on the channel. It should have went up yesterday, Christmas Day, because we're recording this on Christmas, but by the time you watch it, it's gonna be the day after, right? So
right.
So Charlie Clips already. We gotta look at the numbers again because I know that your man was claiming to be number 1, which was Arsenal. I gotta go look. Okay, but either which way,
now Arsenal is number 1.
He's over 120, right? He's over 120.
Arsenal's number 1
because Clips is 119. 119 million total upload views, 93 battles.
Debatable.
Yeah, man. And ain't nothing debatable about that, though, at all. 93 battles, total cataloged, right?
Right.
And average views of 1.2 million. Really, you might as well say 1.3 because it's 1,285,000.
Wow.
This is Charlie Clips. So he goes up against Oun-P. Shouts out to Oun-P. And Oun-P's numbers, only 3 battles. He only got the 3 battles, and this is gonna make the 4th one. Cause this one ain't even catalog.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Only 3 battles.
Only 3 battles.
Okay.
K Walker, him versus DNA, and him versus Reed Dollars.
Okay, and it's a 1 round, right?
This is 1 round. We dropping the 1 round. If you want to see the rest of it, you can go to mcwar.com and you can, get the VOD. You know what I'm saying? But outside of that, we drop the 1 round, which is long. It's like 5 minutes. It's over. It's produced by Magneto 7.
Okay.
Both of them went in. It was a controversy. It was some controversy about the ball.
About the balls. How many balls? Who did what?
Exactly. And who went over 16? They both, in the first round, they both went over 1 ball.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Oun-P went over 1 ball. Charlie Clips went over 1 ball.
Crazy.
When Oun-P went to grab the mic off of Charlie P because he's like, yo, that was it. You was 16. He really did do his 16. Clips didn't know because he was into his, his bars.
Into his verse, right.
And, MCs, these battle rap MCs are not usually used to what? Parameters. They're not used to they're not used to bars and beats. You obviously, Clips is nice, freestyle,
right? Phenomenon.
All I'm saying is that when it came to the bars, because he's not used to that inside of a battle, I'm talking about, because most of the battles is either by time, seconds, or by, it's all usually by time, and it's a cappella. You know what I mean? So usually you got 5 minutes, 3 minutes.
Right.
So now we bringing you back into the bars. You got to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. You know what I mean? You got to count that while you spitting, while you writing.
Right.
Which should either which way he was in. When you see the battle, you'll see he was all the way in to what he was saying. So it's definitely understandable how he basically went over and didn't realize that he went over. Then the last 2 verses, they both did their thing. They both was right at exactly 16.
Right.
And then what we did is we put the bar counter on the right hand side so that you guys can see exactly the bars counted. So you can count along. You can look and be like, yeah, who went over, who didn't get over.
And you can learn how to count.
Facts.
Because like you don't know, in today's culture is like, because it's you're rapping the way you rap it and you're just getting it off, whatever the case is. You're not even understanding how to count bars.
Exactly.
This will help you count bars.
No, that's a good point. Great point. And at some point, we're gonna have to start penalizing. We're gonna get into all of that. If you go over, right? If you've been given 16,
right.
You go 18 more, because the ref. The ref is there to definitely grab the mic, but it ain't a wrestling match. These guys are not there.
Not a wrestling.
Y'all saw Keith Murray versus Fredro Starr, so y'all already know what that was like.
Man.
And me, I ain't care. One, I was sick. Just for those that don't know, I was sick that day. I had the flu. I was just so happy that it went down, because y'all know we had the hiccups in the previous year. So when we finally was on stage pulling it off,
man,
I was like, you know what? I mean? I'm just laughing, because to me, the whole thing was just hilarious. Like, when Keith Murray when he put the wig on, turn into
KRS One.
Yeah, it was,
but it was dope. It was dope. To me, it was dope. Like Sakar said, the year previous, all the battles took place except that one, which was the main one. So it was like, my man Bobby was in the back, like, you good? Like, yeah, I'm good. I'm like in my mind, I'm trying to figure out how we're about to do this. You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
So shouts out to Bobby. You know what I mean? And he's an incredible businessman in the entertainment business.
Yeah,
and the thing is just like, I'm trying to figure out how we gonna do this. You know what I'm saying? And went to New York a year later. I was Sakar's childhood friend.
Shouts out to Nino. Shouts out. I'm glad you said, shouts out Nino, man. Shouts out Nino.
Nino came through, you know what I'm saying?
Because Nino also came through on the Al Bial battle too.
Right.
Yeah, they're at ringside.
Exactly.
So Al Bial versus KS.
Exactly.
KS was a 6-time winner of 106 in Park. Freestyle Fridays. He didn't make it to the 7th week, but he still did his thing. And but shouts out to Nino, because he came through twice, and that was at the legendary ringside, for those that know Jersey City.
Right. So like a lot of our T-shirts is going to be coming out. It's going to be, Nino's is a part of that, one of the owner part of that. So just let y'all know.
MC War Apparel.
MC War Apparel. So definitely. So when it happened, in my mind, I'm like, oh, word. Keith Murray is here, and then I'm following Keith Murray all around the club, making sure that he good, like mentally he good, because Keith Murray is a good dude, period.
Yeah, he is.
And he's an incredible artist, and I just feel like he hasn't had the right team around him, because a lot of time when you have an incredible artist, You need a team around him taking care of everything else and allow him to be an artist, period. And in my personal opinion, he didn't have that, you know, or does not have that. And this becomes a situation where, you know, you need somebody to be like, nah, don't do this, nah, don't do that. All right, you good? All right, come on, and keep it like a machine for you up until they drop you off at home. Once you're at home, you do what you want.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, the day of the event, you know, I don't know. It was cold. It was wintertime. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Freezing.
You know,
no. It was cold, but it was October. But it was, you know, for us, we've been in the South for 12, 13 years. So
for a long time.
That was cold for us.
October's definitely cold.
That was cold for. That was the first year back in New York City.
Facts.
In Jersey City.
So my point is, whatever meds he took, that he mixed with the drinks, what he had, you know what I'm saying, kind of threw him off. And I can understand that. You follow what I'm saying? Maybe he would have, if somebody was around him, they would have told him like, nah, don't mix the meds with the drinks or whatever.
Right.
And that's how that played out. But if you look at the content of the battle, or what Keith Murray was trying to do, or what he was trying to perform.
Third round, he started actually getting it in. Like they started kicking in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Meaning like, you know, he was getting, you know, used to what he being on the stage and, you know, the whole process. And the round 3 wasn't bad at all.
Right.
Yeah, round 3 wasn't bad at all.
So it's like so he had a method to if you look at the method of what he was trying to say and what he was trying to do, he really had something to say. He really had a performance.
Yeah,
you follow what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, Fredro Starr just kept it rudimentary, you know what I'm saying, straight to the point, you know what I'm saying, and just wrapped it out. No theatrics.
He was.
You know what I mean? He just wrapped it out.
Clear as day on how he put that together. It was exactly mapped out, clear, concise. You know, all his everything that he referenced. You know what I'm saying? All of the athletes and everything. It was just on point. It was on point.
It's about to be out what the 10th year?
Yeah. 2025 about to be 10 years since that battle dropped, man. So speaking of 90s. Whoa. So I did it right at the transition. Whoa. Perfect. Okay, speaking of 90s battle rappers.
Right.
Lord Jamar versus Fat Joe, man. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of the 90s, man. So, yeah, man. So, Fat Joe, I don't know if you want to play the math off a situation, but, you know.
I mean, you know.
I definitely wanted to get everybody, I wanted to get Den Tut's thoughts on it. I wanted to talk a little bit about it.
What's interesting about that thought process is, you know,
and for those that don't know, Fat Joe basically came on.
He has a mindset.
And he basically, you know, was talking about, you know, he's been talking about the contribution of Puerto Ricans in hip hop, which no one can deny. Right. And that's all of a sudden became a point of controversy because Lord Jamar doesn't, I don't know, for some reason he has an issue with that point. So now, like, to even have to get specific of what percentage, you know, Puerto Ricans contributed is kind of, you know, petty. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, Puerto Ricans contributed. It could have been left there if, you know, but either which way, Lord Jamar had an issue with it. I think also KRS-One, I think, seconded the fact that Puerto Ricans, their involvement,
right?
You know, and you know, so he also had an issue.
That's what started. That was the set off. Though it was a class, a hip hop class that KRS-One was conducting.
Okay,
and he was breaking down exactly how, you know, this thing takes place and how it took place and who participated in what took place during that time. So with that, it was a specific type of breakdown that he broke down, and in him breaking it down, he was letting it be known, like, yo, look, Puerto Ricans was involved. You know what I'm saying? They did this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying?
Which is facts.
With the graffiti, with the breakdancing.
Right.
And he was just letting it know the climate of that time. And basically, you know, Lord Jamar was breaking it down from the perspective, because it's all perspective, right?
Definitely.
He was breaking it down from the perspective. Well, you know, what was going on during that time. You have a lot of Africans in America that call themselves black,
right?
Because the FBA,
foundational black Americans,
right, is basically saying, okay, we are black Americans, and you know, Lord Jamar, he's an intellect, you know what I'm saying? So let's build, you know, right now between myself, you, and Lord Jamar. It's like, okay,
yeah,
by you being a 5%, you already know that, okay,
It's definitely Puerto Rican 5%ers.
yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. As a matter of fact, one of the main guys I saw building on the 5% page. What's the name? The school? They got their school.
Hall of Knowledge.
Hall of Knowledge. It might be, but their page. I'm trying to think of the title of their page. I don't think on YouTube. So definitely check them out. You know, it's a lot of interesting content that comes from them. Yeah, it was a Puerto Rican brother giving the whole build.
Right.
Yeah.
So my thing is when it comes to this particular topic, you know, Lord Jamal, I want to say to you that, you know, there's no standing on black, right? Blacks have no standing on law. You might say
in law, black has no standing in law. Right.
So you might say, well, you know what, that don't mean nothing. That don't got nothing to do with what we're talking about. Well, when you look at a organization or a group of people that says you're the foundation Black Americans, right? You can't even really stand on that the way you would like to stand on that, because you can't. It only could go as far as your conversation. Period. It cannot do anything because blacks have the word black don't have no standing in law.
Right.
Right. And then when you go into the Dred Scott case, which I spoke about before, it lets you know that black people never could have equal rights to Americans.
Their white counterparts.
The white counterparts.
Yep.
So that right there, it kind of put things in a perspective for you to understand the content of what we're talking about.
Right.
So when you go to the contents of what we're talking about is, you're not black, you're African.
There you go.
You follow what I'm saying?
There you go.
And there is no real separation.
There you go.
Between.
That's exactly where I was going to go with it, because Fat Joe, that's the first thing he was saying. So on the Fat Joe side, talking to Fat Joe, you know, Fat Joe, then to myself, Fat Joe, you already said we African. He had already said that. He was on Power 106.
Right.
He gave the most, you know, one of the most beautiful breakdowns of how we all come from Africa. And then he was explaining that, you know, the Tainos and the Africans that were in Puerto Rico, and that he was like, I'm African, basically. So the moment that, you know, so I think he just needs to fall back. You need to put that back out and let everybody know, listen, we African first. Puerto Rican is a secondary title. Black is a secondary title. You get what I'm talking about?
Right.
Because you can't be a rich port, right? This is something,
right,
you know,
right.
you can't,
can't be that.
You know, that's the name of the country, and no disrespect to the country. And of course, your nationality, you're going to want to claim it. I'm from Jersey City, you know what I'm saying? So, y'all going to hear me talk about Jersey City a lot, because that's the place that I was born, and I have an affinity to it. So that understanding is there. Of course, I'm not a Jersey Cityan, you know, I'm an African, you know, by way of, you know, kidnapping, mixing, and traveling, I wound up in Jersey City, you know. So if he makes that specificity, you know what I'm talking about, then it'll bring a lot of clarity, because at the end of the day, you African. And then that would probably go into another conversation of, you know, ADOS, you know,
right.
And, you know, foundational Black Americans, you know, saying they're not connected to Africa.
Right.
But that's a whole nother conversation we could talk about.
Right.
Next.
And not making this a long drawn out situation, but then, you know, okay, you might say, well, I wasn't a part of the slave trade. You know what I mean? And that's it. I was already here. Okay, I could get that, right? I could get that. But then, because somebody was saying, well, you know, Fat Joe, a white Latina, was talking to Caribbeans, and you know, to the brother's comment, that's even wrong within itself, right? Because Fat Joe is not a white Latina. Like, you know, when you break down the word Latin, that's a Roman. Fat Joe is not Roman. You follow what I'm saying? He's not Roman.
Definitely.
You follow what I'm saying?
Definitely.
So you can't say he's a Latina to
Latino?
go back, Latino or to
Male, Latina, and then they got Latin X.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So you can't even go into that. But you see, he's saying the man is a Roman. He's not Roman.
Well, what we forgetting is, and what we're not understanding now, is the type of unification that we had in the 60s and 70s. In the 60s and 70s, there was unity amongst Africans, or all of us, amongst, you know, what you would call Black Americans, Puerto Ricans. We was all recognizing that we was coming from out of Africa. We was all recognizing that the system was coming at all of us. Matter of fact, remember, there was a big push. Puerto Rico wanted their independence. What happened to that? most of them guys are in jail, you know, and I mean, you know, I'm not the person qualified to give you the history of that situation, but I do know that they wanted freedom, they wanted to be their own country, and I do know that there's a series of them guys that was put in prison based on their actions of wanting to separate. You get what I'm talking about? And a lot of those guys were working along with the Black Panthers. Some of them were Black Panthers. You get what I'm talking about? Yeah, man, 5%ers, you know, Nuwapians, you know, all of, you know, Nubian Nation. They all fell under that Nubian Nation.
And then you know, and I'm a clip after this. That's the end of my thoughts. One thing you guys want to look at. Okay, if y'all don't want to agree to the fact that, you know, we descend from Africa, all you got to look at that there's a particular landmass right now that's separating from Africa right now, right? And this is how the landmass of you know, South America separated from Africa. The same landmass that's separating right now in Africa, that's detaching itself from Africa right now.
Okay.
Meaning hundreds of years from now, there's going to be an ocean between these two land masses, right?
Okay.
So the point is, when South America and Africa was together, we used to walk right over to South America, North America.
Facts.
So those of us that was already there is because we walked away. We walked from Africa to South America.
That's what they call Pangea, you know, back then when everything was one. And everybody, come on, we all looked at the map and see how it's like a puzzle piece
put together.
Exactly.
So like, you know, so broaden your horizon and think that way.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? Before you start saying, well, he's a Caribbean. And
he's
a Latin.
And I hope somebody gets them on the phone and breaks those pieces down, because at the end of the day, we are African first. That's really what it comes down to. And I think that's what Fat Joe needs to go ahead and kind of, you know, because I think, you know, obviously, you know, 3 sides to a story, right?
3 sides to a story.
And, you know, everybody got their perspective. He's already said he's African.
Right.
So that's where we agree.
Right.
That's where we agree. So now if you say that you're not from Africa, then now that's when, and then, you know, that's when the world is flat. You know what I'm saying? You're not, if you ask me, that's in the same, you know, and hey, y'all might be able to beat me in the debate, even though it's debatable, right? I'm not going to say I'm the #1 debater. All I know is that the people that say the earth is flat and the people that say that got nappy hair and black skin and say they not from African, they are from the same tribe.
You know what I'm talking about?
They from the same tribe. That's all I know. But yo, check this out. Shouts out to Say Cheese, because I was scrolling on the Say Cheese, and Say Cheese shared Daily Mail. Daily Mail created an article saying CIA docs claim life did exist on Mars. They claiming life did exist on Mars.
How about that?
You know what I'm saying? So now I
remember a guy talked about that. They called him crazy.
Free Dr. York, man.
Dr. York.
And so now, I mean, come on, I was in the Man from Planet Risk, Mission Earth, all those old books that you probably came across. If
the
you
Face on Mars.
If you from major cities and were like into hip hop and into like the major areas like Harlem and
during
stuff
the
like
90s,
that.
the golden age, man.
You came across the book, so you came across somebody rapping about them. Joel Santana, Nas, Cameron, and so many more. So what I found interesting is that the CIA is now wanting us to know this. So what does this mean? So basically, okay, so check this out. They said, while NASA is searching for life on Mars, a CIA document claims it was found 40 years ago.
40 years ago?
The report, Mars Exploration, May 22nd, 1984, details how the agency used astral projection.
Astral projection.
Nutty. The idea that a person's spirit can travel through the astral plane to transport a subject to Mars. So you know what you saw in that movie? What's that movie that was on Netflix that went crazy for a minute? It was a series and it was dealing with dimensions, and I kept telling you about it. And it was the little girl. Oh man, yo, damn man, it was the movie on Netflix. Y'all know this movie, but they were talking about, you know, they had all the psychic powers, and they basically had these kids together, and they was developing the psychic powers of these children.
Umbrella Academy?
Nah, that's something that came later. This was like 2-3 years ago. Either which way, the point is, in the 70s, if you Google, they was all into developing psychic, powers amongst people. They were all into that, man. You could just Google and you could you could go into file after file of how they were putting that together. So this is crazy that it's talked about, because there's a story of this one guy. He's even got a book. I forgot his book. I got to remember to put it in the description, because he wrote a book about him being somebody that they selected to do astral projection.
Crazy.
And then he used to astral project himself to the moon.
Crazy.
Where he said that they had a
base?
A lab.
A lab.
Yeah, he was looking into the lab, and then the extraterrestrials felt his presence.
Wow.
And looked at him. And he's like, yo, they can see me. They can see me. And mind you, he's only sending his spirit soul or whatever, right? And this is crazy because we just talked about this.
Inner being.
We just talked about this in the last episode when we were saying we do believe in parallel universes.
Multiverses.
Shouts out to Danny Myers. We was just explaining that what they doing through the Hadron Collider.
Right.
That certain people
open up doorways.
People were able to tap into this naturally, right?
Quantum
so now
physics.
Think about it. All of this has been quieted down.
Crazy.
So mind you, they've already done all the damage that they wanted to do to us psychologically. I'm not saying that they're finished, but remember, they were dropping The Exorcist and all these different movies that implant certain things into our subconscious minds.
Right.
They're not pushing those things like they are anymore, but they were at a time. So now, but either which way, this is crazy because I wound up seeing this whole, watching a brief documentary on this guy that wrote a book about his experience. I mean, this guy was talking about he was running into extraterrestrials. And I guess the guy that was in the CIA also had the same type of powers, because he would just show up out of nowhere. He would think of the guy and the guy would just show up.
Wow.
And then he'd be like, yo, we got a contract for you. And they would, they would do different things like, give him tests like having to give him a paper, put the paper somewhere, and you got to say what's on the paper. You use your mind to actually, see what's on the paper that's whatever amount of feet away or whatever. All these different tests they was doing with the dude. But I'll find that book. I'll send it to you guys. But they said the study was part of Project. Guess what the name is? One guess.
9.
Stargate.
Wow.
Come on now. And everybody, we already knew that the movie Stargate was real, man. So, okay. So, look, a secret U.S. Army unit established in 1977 that focused on anomalous phenomena, including remote viewing, telepathy, and psychokinesis.
That's crazy.
Participants were exposed to sounds like binaural beats and hemi-sync audio to induce altered states of consciousness and promote psychic abilities.
Yo, hold on. Stop right there.
Yep.
They had beats.
Yeah.
That produced.
Yeah. We got to see what kind of beats these are.
Psychic.
Yeah.
Abilities.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me these beats that we hitting on, might be able or has produced psychic abilities in the past,
right? Or I mean, it just goes into how they're able to tap into your mind with this music, and it's like now you gotta be really thoughtful. That's what it's called, psychic self-defense. You gotta be thoughtful about what you let into your mind.
Wow.
Right? So and hemi-sync audio to induce altered states of consciousness and promote psychic abilities. The experienced subject was transported to the planet during the specified year, reporting an oblique view of a pyramid in a very large road with a monument similar to those known and among ancient Egyptians on Earth, the report claims.
A pyramid is connected to who?
Exactly, the Africans. But see now,
Egypt is where?
Africa.
Interesting.
Sudan is where? Africa. Where the oldest pyramids?
Africa.
And where? Sudan. Not in Egypt. They under the Aswan Dam right now.
Right.
They literally created a dam to cover up this information.
Dam.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And they changed the flow of the Nile River to cover up all of these old ancient libraries and everything, man. You'll have to go on PBS.
We're not trying to blow your high enough, but I'm just saying
we're trying to actually stimulate it. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? So because the fact that Daily Mail, which is incredible.
Incredible. Definitely.
Authentic.
Definitely.
Resource line of information.
Definitely.
It's talking about pyramids of such on Mars, life on Mars. Interesting with these drones flying in New Jersey and all about with these orbs shooting at these drones and all about. It's like it's interesting, you know
man.
what I'm saying?
Just think, see,
Man, wake up,
man. This is the type of information that these guys got access to,
Come
man.
on, man.
So let me just finish. It said the experiment subject was transported to the planet during a specified year, reporting an oblique view of a pyramid and a very large road with a monument similar to those known among ancient Egyptians on Earth, the report claims. The vision then shifted to a population of very large people searching for a new place to live because their environment was corrupted.
Crazy.
Oh, sounds familiar. Sounds like what's going on right now. Right, with Mars, the Project Mars. Project Stargate was the U.S. government's new weapon against the Soviet Union, aimed at creating mind-reading spies who could infiltrate the minds of its enemies. So yeah, man. Yo, the type of
It's a different world.
Yo, the type
Where
of
you come from.
technology. Don't sleep. Don't sleep on that type of technology. So I was gonna Google Netflix paranormal movies because then it'd come up with the name of the movie that I was thinking about. Yeah. So either which way, but you know, just to think that they're 40 years ahead of us, right?
40?
Yeah, at bare minimum.
Bare minimum.
With technology. So you see this is coming out, and look, this
Because
is
Hitler,
and this is coming out when?
Hitler, Mussolini, you had Hitler and Mussolini, you know, Dr. York teaches, Hitler and Mussolini was dealing with extraterrestrials. They was dealing with paranormal.
Oh, definitely.
You know what I mean? They was dealing with Madame.
The whole movie,
Madame Blavatsky.
Yeah, man. Oh, yup.
You know
Definitely.
what I mean? Third Reich. You know what I mean? Like they were dealing
No,
with.
Madame Blavatsky, what I'm learning is she is literally, it's like, even though we recognize because, you know, we read so much information, she was behind, you know, Hitler, you know what I'm talking about, and, you know, she was recognized as a witch.
Yeah,
she
was a medium for Hitler.
Interestingly enough, she died on May 8th.
Interesting.
And, you know, I like to note that all the black leaders was arrested on May 8th from
Elijah Muhammad
to Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Dr. Malachi York, even OG Mac, the guy that created the United Blood Nations, and more. That's just a minimum amount, you know. And so, but either which way, Madame Blavatsky, so a lot of people that are, you know, scholars recognize her works.
Right.
I'm listening to this, you know, self-help guru or whatever, Brian Tracy. Shouts out to him. I like his work. But he was like, yeah, madam, he referenced Madame Blavatsky. I said, whoa, hold up. You know what I'm talking about? Hold up. We got to stop right there. You know what I mean? I still like what he talks about. But, you know, when it comes to, but you got to see, you know, again, you know, that's for them. Like, you know,
Daily
right?
Mail, man. This is one for the books.
Yeah, it sure is. It sure is. So Netflix, paranormal, normal movies. And let's see what comes up. Yeah, and man, come on, man. None of these showing the movie. Y'all know what I'm talking. Oh, series, paranormal series. Okay, hold on. Series. Okay, and I know it should come now. If it doesn't, Stranger Things. Thank you so much. Yeah, so the whole movie Stranger Things was about this exact, you know, they developing their psychic powers, and then something went wrong, and the Russians, what they just said. They just said, the CIA document just said the Russians was trying. Yo, man, they teach us in the movies, man. They've been doing. They teach them. They teach their own in the movies, right, and we gotta be wise enough to be
know
able
that. Okay, that's where it's at right there. Pick these different jewels and pearls up.
So yeah, man. But that's it, man. Debatable. Yeah, man. Don't forget to watch that Charlie Clips versus Oun-P round 1.
Tell a friend. Ring the bell. Subscribe.
And we'll see y'all tomorrow.
Peace.